585 BC, Miletus, the coast of modern Turkey. A man named Thales looks at the ocean and asks a question no one had ever asked before. Not who made the world, not what does the world mean, and not how should I live in the world. Just asked, what is the world made of? And the one word, water. Now, if you know anything about Thales, you know he was wrong. You cannot make granite out of water, you cannot make a human soul out of water, and you cannot make logic out of water. But Thales wasn't important because he got the right answer. He was important because he asked the right kind of question. Before Thales, if you wanted to know why the world existed, you went to the poets, Homer, Hesiod. They told you stories. The gods quarreled, the titans fell, Zeus threw his thunderbolt. The world was a drama, and you were a character in it. Thales replaced drama with physics. He said, there is a substance. It changes form, but it persists. The water in the ocean becomes the mist in the air, becomes the rain in the field, becomes the sap in the tree. Same stuff, different arrangement. Now, he was wrong about water, but he was right about the project. So his student, Anaximander, refined the project. Not water, he said, air. Rarefy air, it becomes fire. Condense it, it becomes wind. Then cloud, then water, then earth, then stone. Better model, more elegant. You can see the transformation. He's still wrong about the material, but right about the method. Then came Anaximander. Anaximander looked at his teachers and saw a problem. Thales said the source is water. Anaximander said the source is air. But water and air are things. They have properties. They are wet or dry or hot or cold. If the source of all things is itself a thing, then it already has limits. It is already this rather than that. And if the source has limits, then something must have imposed those limits, which means the source isn't the source at all. It's just another effect, another link in a chain that goes backward forever. So Anaximander said, the source cannot be any of the elements. It cannot be water, or air, or fire, or earth. It must be something prior to all of them, something without qualities, something without boundaries. He called it the Apeiron, the boundless, the indefinite, the unformed, a name that is not a name, a placeholder for something we have not yet identified. Now, 40 miles north of Miletus, the city of Ephesus, a man named Heraclitus. Heraclitus wrote a book, or rather, he deposited a scroll in the temple of Artemis. The scroll is lost. We have only fragments, sentences that read like oracles. The first one is, of the Logos, which is as I describe it, men always prove to be uncomprehending. For although all things happen according to this Logos, men are like people of no experience. They are unaware of what they do when they are awake, just as they are forgetful of what they do when they are asleep. This is the first appearance of the word Logos. We still use it today. Biology, geology, psychology, all those ology words come from logos. Logos, logic comes from logos. Dialogue comes from logos. Analogy comes from logos. The word itself has layers. The verbal root is lego. It means to speak, to gather, to lay out, to reckon, to count. So logos is speech, but it's also ratio. It's the principle of organization. It's the structure that makes a heap of words into a sentence. It's the pattern that makes a collection of numbers into an equation. Heraclitus says the universe has a logos. Not a god, and not a person, a grammar, a rational structure that holds everything together. And most people never notice it. Although the Logos is common, he writes, the many live as though they had a private understanding. So we live in our heads, our own opinions, our own interpretations. We think the world is whatever we say it is. Heraclitus says, no. The world has a structure. You can either learn to read it, or you can remain illiterate in the language of reality. Now, here's fragment 12. Of those stepping into the same rivers, other waters flow. You have heard this before, you cannot step in the same river twice. But Heraclitus isn't saying that rivers move, he's saying that you move. The you that stepped into the river a moment ago is already gone. Your cells have replaced themselves, your memories have shifted, your perspectives have changed. What persists, not the matter, the pattern. The river has a name, even though the water is never the same. You have a name, even though your body is constantly replacing itself. Something remains identical across time. Something holds the identity together while the material flows through it. Now, Heraclitus calls that something the Logos. All right, let's look at fragment 30. This world order, the same for all, no God nor man has made, but it always was and is and shall be an ever-living fire, kindling in measures and going out in measures. Fire's not a thing, fire's a process. It consumes fuel, it transforms it, it releases energy. It is stable only in its instability, it persists only by changing. So Heraclitus says the universe is like that, not a static object, a dynamic process, but a process with measures, with proportion, with mathematical structure. The fire kindles in measures, it goes out in measures. There is a ratio, there is an account, there is a Logos. So here's what you need to understand about this moment in intellectual history. Heraclitus has not discovered God. He has not discovered a personal creator who answers prayers. He has discovered something more foundational. He has discovered that the universe is intelligible, that it operates according to a consistent, rational principle, that this principle can be perceived, understood, and described, that it is common, the same for all people, in all places, at all times. He has discovered that reality is not a chaos, it is a sentence. And every sentence has a grammar, and every account has an accountant, and every spoken word implies a speaker. Heraclitus never names that speaker. He stops at the threshold. He describes the Logos, but he does not identify its source. He leaves that for us. Here's what you've learned in the last 15 minutes, or however long this was. You've learned that the search for a first principle is not a religious project, it is a logical project. It began with a man looking at water and asking, what is the stuff it contained with his student, refining the question. It reached a turning point with Anaximander, who realized the source must be different in kind from its effects. And it arrived at Heraclitus, who gave us the vocabulary we still use to describe the rational structure of reality. Logos. Not a god, not a myth, not a revelation, a discovery. The universe is not a random heap, it is a cosmos. It has a grammar, it speaks a language. You have just learned your first word. The question is, who is speaking this sentence? Thank you.